This day has been 2 years coming. Today is the day. Today is the day. Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Katie Wismer. I'm an author and an editor. I have 8 books out currently. Today we're doing the cover reveal for book number 9, Broken Perfect Lies, coming out February 20th. Woo! So in this video, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the book. We're going to do the cover reveal. You guys sent in some questions that I'm going to answer. All that kind of stuff. Give you all the info. I did already do the blurb reveal over on Instagram. If you missed that, it's also now been updated on Amazon and Goodreads, so if you check either of those pages out, the blurb is there, but I will share it in this video as well. Also, since this is a cover reveal, I will have my cover designer linked down below if you are interested in checking her out. This is probably the best experience I've had with designing a cover, so can't recommend working with her enough. So let's jump straight into everything that you need to know about this book. This is a standalone romance first and foremost. It is more on the romantic suspense side. It has those thriller vibes, still has all of the like graphic content that you've seen in my Marionettes series. I'll have the trigger warnings up on my website if you want to check those out. And if you're not into super mature or graphic content, you probably don't want to read this one when it comes to language, sex, violence, gore, all that kind of stuff. And like I said, this is a standalone, so you can read this one without having read any of my other books. You can read it in whatever order, it does not matter. However, there is a cameo from another character from another one of my books in this book. I'm not going to tell you who. I am really excited to see people read it and see if anyone pick that out. The book is coming out on February 20th of 2023. It's up for pre-order now. You can pre-order a signed copy on my website. You can order the ebook on Amazon, paper books on Amazon, and then the paper book is also popping up elsewhere slowly. It's on Barnes & Noble. It will be on Book Depository and other places as well. We're just waiting for those listings to pop up. The book will also be available in Kindle Unlimited, and there is no audiobook currently in production. So if you are someone who usually waits for the audiobook, there might be one in the future. There aren't any plans for it right now. It's not like in production or anything. So as of right now, there's not an audiobook. There might be in the future, but I don't have a time estimate on that. I don't have any plans on that right now. I've also been asked before if there's going to be a hardcover. The answer is no. It's just the ebook and the paperback. I only do hardcovers for my paranormal series. This is a contemporary. Right now we don't do any hardcovers for the contemporaries. I think that's all like the basic info. Let's get to the cover reveal. The reason I think a lot of you are here. 3, 2, 1. I never know what to do. I feel like there should be like a drum roll. The cover. Yeah. There's actually a video on my Patreon page going through the whole cover designing process and all of the different drafts and the different versions that we did, if you want to check that out. But this is the cover. I love it so much. Let me give you the full tour. I think this might be one of my favorite covers. I'll just put like a screenshot up of like the full spread. I just think it's so pretty, and then the inside is also going to be just as pretty. It's got way fancier formatting than I typically do for my paperbacks. It's got like special page or scene break images. There's text messages that look like text in there. There's like handwritten notes in there. It's a multimedia kind of format, so there's lyrics and there's journal entries and all that kind of stuff. So I just think it's like really fun. We went through a couple of different ideas, but I really loved the concept of the city kind of being reflected in her profile. So let me read you the description, and then I think I'm just going to jump straight into the questions that you guys sent in for me. Pop sensation Parker Beck has been living a double life since she was 18. Through the disguises and fake names, she's managed to keep her real identity a secret for the past 6 years. But she's always known it was only a matter of time before the tabloids got their hands on the truth. When the news leaks, it's even worse than she'd feared. Now unprotected, Parker desperately needs a bodyguard, but with her history, no one is willing to take the job. Heath Bridgers wants nothing to do with Parker Beck. That $150 grand salary they're offering just to babysit her, well, that he could use, especially now that a family emergency has him spiraling into a hole of debt he's not sure he'll ever climb out of. The job will be easy. All he has to do is dodge a few stalkers and make it through a year. The one thing he will absolutely not be doing is falling in love with her. If you've been around, you've heard me pitch this book as a dark and spicy adult Hannah Montana bodyguard romance. So someone did ask about what kind of tropes they can expect. Bodyguard romance, obviously. The whole like fake identities, double life. We've got the pop star famous celebrity kind of deal. A little bit of enemies to lovers. I don't want to like really sell that though, because it's not like a hardcore enemies to lovers, but a little bit of like dislike to love. We've got forced proximity. We've got a groveling hero. It's spicy, it's got suspense, and it's got all of the Hannah Montana vibes. Going off of that, someone asked like where the idea came from, and literally the way I've been describing it is the way that the idea came into my head before I ever sat down to write it. I don't really know where it came from. It was just like, I want to write something that's kind of like the adult version of Hannah Montana, and I want it to be bodyguard romance. And from there I came up with the concept. That's literally all there was to it. I'm finding this is kind of becoming my brand. My books have seemed a little bit like disjointed and random, but now I'm realizing like I'm taking stories that meant a lot to me as a kid and that like really resonated with me as a kid and made me fall in love with stories, and I'm just like twisting it into my own thing and like making it a little more mature. Like the Marionettes series is kind of stemming from my love of Vampire Diaries and Vampire Academy. Broken Perfect Lies is stemming from my love of Hannah Montana. I was all about Hannah Montana when I was a kid. It came out when I was in elementary school. I had a Hannah Montana themed birthday party. It was my first concert when I was 10, Hannah Montana and the Jonas Brothers. So Hannah Montana was like my thing when I was 10. So that was definitely a big inspiration for this book, and it was really fun to play around with that. Where is it set? I don't know how well you can tell that the cityscape. This book is set in New York. How did you decide the characters' names? If you go back and watch, I think it's the first nighttime writing vlog, maybe the second one, where I was sharing a lot of information about this book, and I was like, I don't know why I'm giving you all the details, but this book's gonna come out so far from now, no one's gonna remember. Does anyone remember? So Parker's name, I don't really know where it came from. I tend to just kind of like sift through baby name lists online, but I really like unisex names or names that are like traditionally for boys for a girl name, or the other way around. I just tend to really like those kinds of names. So I've known several Parkers in my life, but they've always been guys, so I just really like that as a girl's name. And then Heath, I don't really know where that came from. Maybe because I like the actor Heath Ledger. I don't know exactly. What was the most difficult part to write? So the process of this book, I actually wrote the entire book beginning to end only from Parker's point of view. And as I started revising it, I realized Heath needs a point of view. This has to be a dual POV book. It's not going to work without it. So I had to go back and write his entire perspective from beginning to end. And at that point, when I first started doing that, I hadn't written Bloodless Ties yet, which is the third book in my Marionette series, and it also has 2 points of view. So this was my first time trying to write the male love interest's point of view. So it was challenging just because I'd never done it before, so I was kind of like nervous about it and overthinking it. Now I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. And yeah, so having to go back and rewrite an entirely new point of view and figure out like how it fit in the point of view that I already had was challenging, but the book is 100 times better for it. So I guess that's something I could have added into like the basic knowledge to know about this book. It is a dual POV book. Is this your favorite relationship you've written? I do really like Parker and Heath's relationship. It was a really interesting dynamic for me to play with. Not to spoil anything, but basically I took 2 characters who kind of had the same kind of start in life, same kind of circumstances. They were dealt a similar hand, but their lives went completely opposite ways, and the choices that they made were opposite. And then they come together and, you know, they realize they have all this stuff in common, but I don't know, it was just kind of a fun exercise of like how things can turn out very differently despite 2 people having the exact same circumstances. It's hard to top Valerie and Reed's relationship from the Marionettes for me, just because I've spent more time with them. I'm writing book 4 with them. They're my only couple that I've written, you know, several books for. So it's hard to top a couple that I've spent so much more time with, but I do love Parker and Heath in their own way. Anything you wanted to include but weren't able to fit in the story? That's an interesting question. Not exactly, but now that I'm currently doing the final proofread. So now as I'm doing that, I'm getting all kinds of ideas. I'm like, well, I could have done this, or what if I had done this? I'm like, you can't change anything major right now, like we're done. So I found that I've been getting all kinds of ideas. Something that I also had, I don't want to say fun with because that just like sounds really insensitive. Something that also helped inspire some elements of this book is looking back on a lot of celebrities in my lifetime who have struggled, who have been mistreated by the media or by the public, who've had kind of like scandals. So I tried to kind of incorporate that kind of vibe and some inspiration from that. And I didn't want to be too heavy in that, but there were so many other things I could have done with that, if that makes sense. Like pulling from, I mean, this is a Hannah Montana inspired book, so some of like things that happened with Miley Cyrus or Britney Spears, any of the child stars that come out of like Nickelodeon or Disney Channel, and you know they have not the best trajectory most of the time. I know I can't say trajectory. Same with Taylor Swift, Kesha, Lindsay Lohan, Hilary Duff, Lady Gaga, like all of these celebrities who, if you pay attention at all to that kind of news, there's a much darker side to their careers and their fame. So I did kind of pull inspiration from some of those kind of things. This is first and foremost a romance though, so I didn't want it to be like too heavy on that. So if there was anything else that I would have wanted to do more of, is like more of that. And then the last question we have is any actors you picture playing the characters? Not particularly. I've always been bad at answering this kind of question. If you look on the Pinterest board, I have some pictures of, what's her name? Julianne Hough. Not because I necessarily picture Parker as her, she'd be a younger version of her. It's just like she looks like her in those particular pictures. If you want to see the Pinterest board, I'll have it linked down below, as well as the Spotify playlist if you want to listen to the music. But yeah, that's gonna be it. This is gonna be book number 9 coming out February 20th. If you want to pre-order it, I would appreciate it so much. It will be in KU, so I understand if you want to wait, but I would also really appreciate some pre-orders. I have a pre-order goal and we're not quite there yet. I would really appreciate it. If you have any other questions about this book, feel free to drop them in the comments down below. I'd love to know what you think of the cover, and I will just see you guys in my next video very soon. Bye. No. Pretty Caroline, oh, 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 stone.